here again at East Point, St. Philip, for the Lighthouse, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. My third time visiting here. My third time visiting the East Point Lighthouse here in the parish of St. Philip in Barbados. So I'm looking in a southeasterly direction towards a northeasterly direction, sorry. So you can see a little bit of the outline of Barbados. From here you can see Skeets Bay. Skeets Bay is also in St. Philip in the Bearfield area. Skeets Bay is at Bearfield, St. Philip. And Bearfield, St. Philip, around the corner here is where our beloved well-known Calypsonian red plastic bag, along with Matt Fingal, is from. St. Philip is home to red plastic bag, Matt Fingal, John King, Blood, and Duke Chet 80 shirt, who I forgot to mention in my other videos. They are all well-known Calypsonians from Barbados. You can see Skeets Bay over here. You can see St. Mark's Anglican Church at College Savannah St. John on top of this hill here. St. Mark's Anglican Church at College Savannah St. John. That part of St. John is also close to St. Philip. That part of St. John borders St. Philip. You can see all up in St. John by Cottington College. You can see Forty School, which is the district in St. Philip just below St. Mark's Church. Forty School right here. You can see all across St. Joseph, all across the Bathsheba on that side in St. Joseph, and into St. Andrew, all on the east coast. And we can see all to the north of the island at Pico Tenerife in St. Lucie. So as I said before, Barbados is an island in the Caribbean Sea, bordering the Atlantic Ocean off the eastern Caribbean chain. And Barbados is the only island in the Caribbean that Columbus did not discover. Barbados is 166 square miles, a small Caribbean island. We don't have resources like oil, we don't have hills, we don't have mountains in Barbados. All we depend on for our survival is tourism. We depend on tourism. That is why the police and other officials are very hard, come down harshly on persons who attack tourists when they come to Barbados. One time we used to depend on Sugar. Sugar was king. The same red plastic bag, his first song was Sugar Made Us Free. We used to depend on Sugar. Sugar was king in Barbados, but not at the moment, not anymore. We hardly have sugar factories in Barbados, only one remaining. That is Port Vale in St. James, on the western side of the island. All the rest of sugar factories we had closed down. So the eastern side of Barbados, which is out this side, is washed by the Atlantic Ocean, and the northern side and the western side is washed by the Caribbean Sea. So from here you can get a good outline of Barbados. So from here you can see a bit of St. Philip, into St. John, St. Joseph, St. Andrew, all into St. Lucie to the north of the island. Up in the hills of St. John and a bit of St. Joseph and St. Andrew. You can see all across the Chalky Mountain in St. Andrew. So St. Joseph and St. Andrew are the two parishes in Barbados best referred to as the Scotland District. Referred to as the Scotland District because of their resemblance to the Scotland countryside, and they are the parishes in Barbados that carry the most hills. The Scotland District carries the most hills in Barbados. So Pico Tenerife in St. Lucie to the north of the island, you can see all the way to the end here. And then you can see Chalky Mount, St. Andrew, and Bathsheba, St. Joseph all to the east, and St. John and St. Philip to the east. Lighthouse here, again the East Point Lighthouse. I'm trying to walk up the road here. Atlantic Ocean. St. Philip is southeasterly. St. Philip is the flattest parish. St. Philip is the parish in Barbados that has no hills or less hills. St. Philip is also the biggest parish and unique parish as well. The most unique parish on the island is St. Philip. Many people refer to St. Philip as the Republic of St. Philip, and people from St. Philip refer to themselves as Philippines. Over this side now is facing southerly now. Over this side is facing to the south, facing towards Stroud Bay and Peak Bay at Merritts, and by the Sam Lars Castle. Sam Lars Castle is in St. Philip over this side. Sam Lars Castle was built in 1820 in St. Philip, around the corner here, by a man named Samuel Hall Lord, an Englishman, who built the castle as his home. He used to live at the castle, and he built the castle to make the ships feel that when they come to the castle, that when they see the lanterns, that it is a safe harbor. And then when the ships land there, they dock there, then they rob them. Sam Lord was later taken back to England and hung. Sam Lord still has some descendants in Barbados, in St. Philip as well, the Lords, L-O-R-D. The parish of St. Philip are filled with Lords, L-O-R-D and L-O-R-D-E, Wiltshires, Masons, and Cossies. They are all from St. Philip. I forgot to mention that Culpeper Island is over here, a little dot off of Barbados. Culpeper Island is a little dot off the island of Barbados in St. Philip as well. Culpeper Island, they call it an island, but it is not really an island because they don't have any inhabitants there. But Culpeper is a little island off of Barbados, a little dot. This is the lighthouse here again. I think you can see it over here. You can see the island here, Culpeper. Let's see all up by St. Mark's Church, and all up in the hills of St. John, all up Society, all up by Cozzington College, and that side. So this is the Culpeper Island here. And the lighthouse here again. You see here. So all the Atlantic side over here. So I will close off this video now. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed evening. The lighthouse here again. In a nutshell, Barbados is one of the beautiful islands in the Caribbean, in the West Indies. So for those of you who don't know where Barbados is in the West Indies. Some people used to argue that Barbados is not in the Caribbean, it is in the Atlantic Ocean. Barbados is on the border of two, the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Even though some research might say that it is in the Caribbean, it is in the Atlantic and not the Caribbean, Barbados is in the Caribbean. Yes, they want to argue that Guyana and Trinidad is not in the Caribbean, and that is in the Atlantic. Barbados is in the Atlantic along with Guyana and Trinidad. Guyana is in the South America, the top of South America, also bordering the Caribbean Sea. You can see all up in Mount Pleasant, St. Philip from here as well. The part of St. Philip that has the hills, Mount Pleasant and Stuart Hill. So this is Keats Bay over here. All over here is Maryville, St. Philip. And there's Keats Bay over here. And there's St. Mark's Church and that side over here. All in St. John over here with College Savannah and Cozzington College and Bath Beach in St. John, also on the East Coast. So thank you guys for watching now. Once again, have a blessed evening and stay tuned for more videos of Barbados. Once again, love you guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the video, and enjoy the beauty of Barbados.